why Verna helps kids design, test, and dream up solutions for the worlds ahead.
So, first of all, tell me about you.
Yeah, so my name is Shannon McClintock Miller. I am the district teacher librarian at Van Meter Community School in Iowa. And then I do a lot of other things. I lead the Future Ready Librarians group along with my colleague and dear friend, Leah Dawson. I work as a thought leader with Follett and with Capstone and Stemfinity. I also am the Future Ready advocate for Book Creator, which I love doing, one of my favorite parts of my job. And so just a lot of different things. And then I also do a lot of presenting and consulting and different things too around the country and around the world.
Were you at ASL?
I was.
I wish we had this conversation like 3 weeks ago.
I know. My sister and I were there and we had so much fun. I saw you were there too.
I was not there, but our team was there.
Oh, cool. Very
I-
cool. It was good.
I heard it was a great event.
It was a great event.
Yeah.
Such good energy. So many great conversation. The vendor floor was awesome. The presentations were great. It was really good.
What brings you to NYSCATE this year?
So this year I'm going to NYSCATE. I've wanted to go for a long time. But this year it worked out because it's Thanksgiving, that week. So, but I'm going to be there. We're having a Future Ready Librarians event.
Nice.
And then I'm doing some other work around media and digital literacy. So they're presenting. So I'm really excited.
I love it. I love everything about it. So tell me, first of all, I'll tell you the side of my story and all that good stuff.
Okay.
I didn't even introduce myself. And again, this conversation will be edited. We'll send it to our team and all that good stuff. So my background, I've been involved in education for almost 20 years now, always on the organization side. So I've run a few different groups. One company I still run today called Beluga. Beluga's been active in market now for a decade. What we do is media. So we create video content, we align it to subject area curriculum standards, pass it in schools around the world. Say Beluga reaches learners in 100 plus countries. And what we've really done is not just content, but turn students into creators and understanding the journey that they're having. Students and teachers are able to create image, audio, video, text, drawing. But the neat thing is also the global footprint, where within Beluga, people are able to get connected worldwide. They're also able to have a full PBL footprint where we're documenting this and showcasing the journey as opposed to the destination. So that's my Beluga side. I would say about 1.5 years, 2 years ago, started having this conversation with, things like this, with partners, organizations, people we know and love, of what are we really doing right now? And I always say, I hope this isn't my midlife crisis, but really looking around and just saying, what's going on? And realize, I think everyone got into education because they think they can be a voice in the station of we know it doesn't work. We don't have to go down that pathway, but more so of how do we help? And how do we actually move the needle? And what we found personally, at least for our organization, is business was great, but we didn't really accomplish what we set out to do, which is move the needle and shift. For us, it was all around curiosity and creativity. And if we could do it, it humanizes learning. That's always been our mission, always in education. And we started speaking with a lot of like-minded organizations and individuals and realizing, hey, we're not alone in this, right? People are really interested in moving the needle, but they're doing it siloed. So we started this organization called Thinkering Collective. I never had an intention to start a nonprofit, but we did. So Thinkering Collective, full nonprofit organization. And what we do is we bring together the thought leaders, the outliers, the gunslingers, in a sense, that are not asking for permission, but doing so because they know it's better for kids and teachers and communities. And today, Thinkering has almost 100 global partners in less than a year since we launched. Groups like research organizations like University of Chicago, your neck of the woods, Arizona State, agriculture groups, AI groups, obviously it's 25, 26, mental health organizations, but groups that we truly believe are necessary for quality education today. And what we did is we created this think tank first and quickly realized hey, there's a lot of experiences that we can provide to community from this think tank. No cost to partners or anything along those lines. We just want to be surrounded by great people. Our first program that we launched was this teacher fellowship. And a teacher fellowship started last year. We're midway through our current cohort right now for the new school year. But Teacher Fellowship is a 10-week program. We brought educators in and said, if there's no red tape, what would you do? Budgets are no issue. Resources are no issue. Access to people is no issue. What would you do around this concept of how do we humanize learning? And we created this fellowship that's proven to be pretty impactful. where we surround them with like-minded individuals from around the world, other fellows, a mentor who has done everything from student teach to keynote that is there to nurture and support this individual. And by the end of it, some workshops and things like that too, by the end of 10 weeks, they present this idea to our team, low stakes environment, where this is my idea of how I would humanize learning. I mean, we've seen everything from STEM buses in Nigeria to bring internet access to rural communities, to agriculture gardens, actually in multiple places throughout the US, not even just focused on the process of growing, but more so around health, food deserts, entrepreneurship, things along these lines, like really, really neat programs like that. And it's moving in the right direction. So our goal within the next 5 years, we want to bring 10,000 educators through this program. Obviously, a lot more partners, a lot more experiences. But what we think in the next 5 years, if we could bring 10,000 educators through this, we're looking at this map of all these impactful programs and projects. And then what we do for our kind of second phase of our fellowship, which teachers are going through already, is how do we make this a reality?
Yeah.
How do we understand the resources that are needed? So we actually go out to our organization, we raise funds for these projects. We surround them with subject matter experts. We understand the research behind it. And that's the information we want to share with communities worldwide. So Thinkering is kind of a mind of its own at this point, like a lot of projects I see take place. But what we've also seen is that really what we're doing is we're storytellers because we're sitting on all this amazing content and passion of that individual teacher in their own community that's been banging their head against the wall of like, why are we still doing it this way? We're pulling that out of them and sharing it worldwide. And that's kind of where this media side has come in. So NYSCATE, we're one of the spotlight sessions. You're presenting at NYSCATE as well, right?
Yeah. I'm one of the spotlight speakers. Yeah.
What day
Yes.
is your session?
I'm on Sunday.
What time?
I'm in the morning at
Okay.
10, I think, and in the afternoon, I think I'm at 2.
Okay. I was going to say, just so long as it's not at 3 o'clock, because I would love to see you speak. Our session's at 3, so I will definitely be there for that.
Yes. I want to hear yours too.
I would love to have you there. But really, we're starting to dive in now and share all these stories. Our team has been to a lot of events and, pulling that out. So ASL, we were a media partner on. I skate alongside Spotlighting. We're also a media partner on. And now our mission is just how do we bring great communities into this and then give back and make these projects impactful because we know what could happen from it. One classroom inspires the other, and all of a sudden it's a global shift. So Thinkering is like, it's moving now. It's really fun. It's one of those exciting opportunities taking place. But on a NYSCATE side, just I want to introduce ourselves first of like, who is this guy and why are we even having this conversation? But really, what we're doing with NYSCATE too is understanding, obviously, the speakers, the attendees, like, what does education look like? We're in this crazy world of technology right now. What are you seeing, especially from the librarian perspective?
Oh gosh. Librarians, we've always been leaders or wanting to be leaders like within our libraries and from our libraries. But right now, people are trying to, I think, be more impactful than we ever have because librarians are needed. Our expertise is needed. In the world that we live in around technology and AI and all the different literacies from media to digital to AI literacy, like we're more important than ever. And our expertise that we need to be able to support the kids and also the teachers and what they're doing, but also we're needed so much in the communities that we build within our libraries, right? Our kids need it, our teachers need it, our families need it. And being able to sustain not only what we're already doing, but to make sure that libraries stay within schools. And I think and librarians, that teacher librarians are the heart of the school, and we want them to stay in those spaces and be able to do all the amazing work that they do within these school communities and throughout the community and the world. And so when I travel around, like I was in 2 school districts, and this week actually, and I hear stories that you want to be able to support and help and lift these people up to be library leaders. And so a lot of my work is focused around Future Ready Librarians because of that role that we need to take and all these things that make us such an important part of communities.
I love how you said teacher librarian too. I think
Mhm.
that is so important to include that title.
Absolutely. I'm a teacher, and I think that it is so important. And, a lot of my day is spent working with the teachers and co-teaching and creating lessons and ideas and bringing that innovation and creativity to our kids. And that's something that we can make such an impact in what's happening within the learning and the teaching within our schools. It's one of my favorite parts of being a teacher librarian.
I could see just from hearing you speak on this one. Let me ask you two parts on this one because I'm fascinated by this. First, what does a future ready librarian look like?
Wow, that's a good question. I mean, I have my little framework right here with
I would
future
love to see it.
librarian.
Let's bust it out.
And so, I mean, a future ready librarian, like the great thing about what we do as a future ready librarian is all these pieces go together in this framework that we have, from the curriculum instruction and assessment piece of what we do to the leadership role, how we lead from the library, how we build community partnerships, how we design our collaborative spaces, and all these pieces from our framework like come together to really bring, work around not only all those things, but then how we're tying into what's core to us, how we're instilling that love of reading and learning and creativity, and how we're making sure that our kids know, like you talked about. I love that, talking about just humanizing education and thinking outside of the box. But librarians have all these things that we can bring together to truly lift up and make us the best librarian that we can be. And so the great thing too about the framework is that when we sit down and we talk to our administrators or teachers or even students and families, these things are all bits and pieces of what everybody does within a school. We all think about, that curriculum part and the way that we want to empower our students as creators. And we all have a piece of the pie when it comes to, making a great school and making it great for our kids and those experiences. And so I think bringing that together, whatever we do, whatever role, and having these common conversations around this work is truly making a difference within schools, for future ready schools. And of course, for us as librarians too.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that one. I think it's the community aspect and connection is so important.
So important. And I think that I spent the morning actually for an hour with our public librarian. And, it's not just about our libraries, it's about our community that we have and what we're doing to make our community, the best that it can be. And for our families and for our students and for our teachers. And I think that's the exciting thing when I go to school and what I feel. And I want that for everyone. I want that for every librarian, every teacher, every student to feel that sense of community and also that they are making a difference. And that to me is really important. And that's why I do this work for future ready librarians, is because I want people to be empowered, have this tool, and it works alongside, the standards that we have for AASL as teacher librarians, what we do as educator around the ISTE standards that we have for teachers and students, and these things working together. And I think, giving again kind of that how we're supporting our schools as a whole, our future ready schools. This is something that, we have to have librarians. And I think that everybody needs to know how these come together and the difference that we can make.
Right. Not just the what we're used to of old lady, glasses, gray hair, like everyone like this.
Yeah.
It's the
Right?
culture builder.
I know. Well, and when I first became a librarian, like I was not a librarian. I have an art degree and I have a teaching degree. And I was asked to be the librarian because, I mean, this was 19 years ago, because I like technology. That's what the superintendent said
Yeah.
to me. You're on the tech committee. We just right before we went 1-to-1, and he called me and asked, like, well, now the library job's open. And so I took it, not knowing anything about it, went back, got my master's. And within like 2 weeks, it was like the perfect fit for me because I'm creative. I was an artist. I'm a teacher. I'm innovative, and all these other things that make up like this, dynamic person that you want within this role, to truly like make change and to support, everyone in your community. Like that's what a librarian can do.
I love that so much. So, Shannon, you gave me the insight of what future ready librarians look like on the teacher side. What does it mean for the student? I can even give an example of, I mean, it sounds like you're working with students literally across the country at this point, obviously locally within Iowa, but what are some outcomes that you've seen?
I think one of the big parts of what we do, I just left a kindergarten classroom actually before I came home, is that piece of one of the edges of the wedge. It's empower students as creators. And I love that piece because we're the one that can bring that creativity and innovation through technology, through literacy, through experiences that we bring to our kids. And so I always like to say I'm like the cruise director at school. Like we're bringing together all these pieces, and maybe they're taking a book and we're bringing it to life with like book creator, and maybe then we're bringing in an author either in person or through a Zoom connection or somebody from NASA or whatever it might be, and bringing all those pieces together to truly make these learning experiences the best that they can be for kids. These exciting, that they're heard, that they have a voice in what they want. And we are, a person that we see every student within our building. We work with every teacher, and that's something that is unique in our role. And so to get to know and listen to the kids, if it is what they want to read or something that they've read that they want to share, or having a place that is safe and how they can be themselves. But I think that, empowering students as creators, and then of course that literacy piece of just, instilling within our kids. And in our framework in the center is learner centered. And so all this work that we do, it supports our learners. And that's the best part of being a teacher librarian.
That's spot on. And you mentioned literacy. I mean, there's so many elements to that today of
Yeah.
traditional literacy, media literacy, AI literacy.
Yeah.
What do you think is one of the key skills for our students? You're interacting with so many. What is one of those gaps that they're missing that we really need to hone in on that you think, a program like library or any extracurriculars additional to library too, that we should really be looking at?
Well, and one of the big additions to our framework was this around here where it says literacy. Used to say, well, now it says literacies, but it used to be just literacy. And we changed this to literacies, meaning, just like you said, how are we supporting media, digital, AI, financial, news, like all of those things. And when I was at a district in Texas this week, I said, it's not only about making sure that our students understand and that they work within these literacies and, truly like are ready to, from littles all the way up to our older ones, that they're ready to, especially when they leave. Like I have a kid in college and I want him to understand, what AI literacy and all these different things mean, but also how are we supporting our teachers? Because that's a big part of us. Like we're the experts. And so we need to be teaching our teachers and supporting them so then they understand how to support and teach our students in the classroom. It's a
And
big,
which support,
big
too.
role.
We speak with teachers all the time too. I mean, the support is obviously the biggest hurdle for people right now. There's no time for anything. I think PD is so watered down today, and teachers are looking around and saying, "What am I doing here?"
I
The
think so too.
situation is nothing they signed up for. What do you think is an element that schools and school districts could really, I would say, like truly invest in, not necessarily even financially, but invest as a culture of we're committed to this because we know it works.
Yeah. Well, and that's why another reason I think having a librarian is really important, because that's a key to a lot of making this happen. Like to have someone in your building who, I have a master's degree in library science, I have a teaching degree, and I have the skills needed to be able to support all these new things happening and to make like PD2 exciting and beneficial and something that our kids are going to, we take these things back and the things that they learn to make their education so much more better. And that to me is like one thing I think that kind of plays into, that innovation and that creativity. Like it's not just, giving them a worksheet and doing it and pulling out like a dictionary or something that they're going to. It's being interactive and being engaged and being innovative. And those are, I think, the skills that we need to be teaching in PD and to make it exciting and remember that we're all learners. So but it's a big thing right now. Everybody is very overwhelmed, out, wondering, wanting to, I find myself in that, asking and wanting to help and to support and to make sure that we're ready for the future.
I mean, that's our mission spot on at Thinkering is like we're not ready for the future and we need to come together as a community to understand one another. And I think a lot of times we forget that this is a business education and our clients are kids. And any other business in the world, if you weren't serving your clients properly, they would leave. Uh,
Yes.
for some reason, we just forgot that in education and we're seeing the results of it. Shanna, I'll ask you one more question because I don't want to keep it too long on this one. But we always ask this question. If there was no red tape and you were starting a school tomorrow, what would be the first thing you implement?
Making sure that the library was staffed properly with a teacher librarian, with someone that was either a para or an associate, someone in that space to help then support that teacher librarian and to make sure that they had what they needed just in the sense of having the people there first and making sure that there was a library. And we're seeing that so often that we want to make sure that we keep our libraries open for our kids and that they're these amazing, creative, collaborative, wonderful, safe spaces. And the people that we have in there is just so important. And so I hope that, every administrator remembers that when they open new schools or, look at what is needed, that they remember that a lot of it has to do with having a great librarian.
Yep. I love that. Shannon, where can we find your framework?
So Future Ready Librarians.org is where you can actually find the framework and all the other good stuff about future ready schools and future ready librarians. And we put things out there all the time on social. And then I'm on social at Shannon M. Miller, and I share a lot every week about future ready librarians. But we'll be coming up too. We have a lot of conferences from NYSCATE, but then next year, FETC, TCA, TLA, ISTE. And so we'll be popping up a lot of places around the country next year too.
That's awesome. We look forward to seeing all of it.